Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Centauri Let's Play. This is Northstar. I think I do the trailer again here.
Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden. He drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. The Conclave Bible, data links.
Excuse me.
Earth.
I think
Turn complete.
that trailer, that video, is in a way a good reminder of what's at stake here, at least symbolically, theoretically in the game. It certainly gives me chills every time I watch it. Reminder of the oppression, the violence that's being escaped. And oh boy, there's been so much of it in Earth's history. I was just watching a Keen video about the history of the authoritarian U.S.-backed puppet regime in, I think it was Uruguay with the Colorado, who disappeared and tortured tens and thousands of people. I think they murdered something like 20,000 people, tortured 60,000 or something. Tiny little country, like 6 million people, so that's a ton. That would be for scale like 3 million people in the United States. US-backed military dictatorship. Of course, the US is very much the bad guys of the world that have managed to convince idiots that, oh, we're really the good guys. Fucking no, we aren't. So this being an American. Now I'm here having on planet Chiron, an Alpha Centauri system, as the peacekeepers, those loyal to the original UN mission. I've got the Spartans to myself. They're fascists, very much in the tradition of Chilean or Paraguayan or Uruguayan fascists. Santiago, Corazon Santiago, is quite literally, I don't think you can get the full profile on the leader. Except when you're in diplomacy, and then there's like a way to see like scrolling pictures of their background, and there was a website created with the game, but basically she is a Chilean fascist who, it says she was the UN security chief, but a lot of her followers snuck on board the uni, or she co-opted the people who snuck on board the uni into her faction. And she was probably behind the assassination of Captain Garland. I forget, there was something with the Lelandists, or is that from a forum discussing it? But yeah, it's absolutely, and it's been a long time since I read the backstory in the books, but yeah, she was complicit in it, definitely involved. Whereas Shen Jiang actually tried to keep order in the ship. he was the ship's executive officer, but he was actually doing, since Santiago was not doing her job correctly as a security officer, he ended up taking over a lot of the role of the security officer in the ship. But he became very disillusioned, if I remember correctly. He was terribly injured in the fighting on the ship, which is why he has like this cybernetic body already. And he became, it kind of broke something in Yang, what happened on the Unity. And yeah, and then he becomes this crazy parody of socialism. He's not socialist. Socialism is the free drones. Yang is just a brutal dictator, pretends to be Marxist. He's nothing of the sort. Anyways, I accidentally unleashed some mindworms here because I was tired. I don't know, maybe some post-exertion malaise, my long COVID from a walk too many days ago. And I stupidly freaking walked to transport right into a pile of mindworms. Actually, the transport that did it had a move left, so it's on this rocky tile. And if I just done the turn order more smartly, I could have moved. I think this rover was actually right here south of Mindworms. It could have attacked. So I'm. There's a chance the Mindworms could go for this rover instead of these civilians, but I doubt it. I'm probably gonna lose this probe team unless I'm very lucky, and then suffer collateral damage to the formers and transport, which will go when I guess help finish the sensor array quickly, and then the damaged formers will need to get back to border agency to heal up, so we'll lose some form returns, and I'll lose the 20 minerals I sunk into the probe team. I mean, it could be worse. I could have taken the statistically optimal path of building tons of colony pods and sending them out and not even escorting them, because the cost of defending all your new bases and colony pods is greater than the risk that very rarely a mindworm, as long as you don't go through fungus tiles, will eat one of them. So I mean, I could have lost one of those, but there was nothing to be gained here except maybe one form return building a mine here that could all be worked by a monitoring agency. So this freaking kicking myself. It's stupid. And that would have just been 2 nutrient, 2 mineral tile, barely better than the ones with solar panels. Only better really because of an efficiency in them. Fact that labs are not a super great investment with tech stagnation on. So, one lab point, one econ point minus a little inefficiency is definitely worse than an extra mineral, but not much. So this just was totally stupid. It wouldn't have paid off that well if the risk hadn't been 1 in 3 of. I make mistakes, but whatever. Trying to establish a free society without repression. I mean, law is forbidden from taking place state on planet, and while he's very much too spicy liberal rather than say a socialist, and his ideology might ultimately fail and still lead him to some horrible things. Like at some point, it may still end up nerve stapling bases to avoid drone riots, which eventually the drones become, supposedly, unless this is from some mod and people do this, they play with mods and get stuff mixed up and then put it out on the internet. Eventually, drones have a chance of becoming resistant to nerve stapling, so it's not a permanent solution, but all I do is suffer sanctions for a while, which I don't have any commerce income. Presumably, Planet has a system where sanctions, I mean, since it's based on the UN Charter being up, I don't think you suffer the sanctions without it. It's very much multilateral sanctions, unlike the bullshit we have in our own world. The United States can just unilaterally sanction a country through its control of the global trade currency, the US dollar, and uses this to force everyone in line with US imperialism and capitalism. And I mean, after the Cold War was already over in 96 and in 2000, there were authoritarian coups, and I think it was Paraguay, the country that Kim was talking about. But the School of America graduate, School of America is off to be named the School of Assassins, because the CIA trained scumbag um, scumbag authoritarians there who would go on to institute brutal authoritarian regimes, coup their governments, and assassinate political dissidents. And this has been happening for decades and decades. And I think it was finally closed, but then just reopened under a new name in like 20 something. So the School of America's graduated doing a coup in 2000. He obviously graduated in the 90s or late 80s. Because usually the way this goes is these assholes rise up the ranks of the military in the countries a bit, become like a colonel, go to School of Assassins, which is like right near Fort Benning, Georgia. It's pretty much on the same campus. So right where the U.S. soldiers are being trained, and that proximity is not a coincidence because it's part of the U.S. imperialist machine. And then they go back to their countries, and within a few years, they end up organizing coups and instituting more U.S.-friendly regimes in these countries. That has been the way for a long time, and this is not a case that ends justify the means, because there are no ends to justify anything here. These governments are brutal, and a huge decrease in people's prospects and quality of life versus what was there before. And they're not protecting freedom. They're oppressing people and restricting their freedom. These military dictator types. People should be free, to organize trade unions, which often trade union leaders are killed by these sorts, to form socialist parties and try and establish social states to oppose U.S. empire. Taking away people's freedoms to do these things and assassinating people and torturing them, disappearing them in the night is not freedom. It is oppression under the guise of, you're free, but you're only free to choose within the bounds of our system. And you'll see. I mean, I'm thinking about this because I've been playing a bit of Rebel Inc., which is a counterinsurgency game, and I'll probably do a video of that next. And I'm a little bit annoyed with myself over that stupid Mindworm thing, so I don't know, I'll play here, but I don't see anything that I missed, so I should just roll over the turn. And I've been putting it off because I don't want to freaking lose this probe team, but it's going to have to happen. Sorry, my jaw's killing me. What? Another? And they went after the transport. There's that non-combat debuff I talked about. What the hell? The probe team was disciplined. She spotted my forces.
Production complete.
How did she spot them?
Production complete.
Near Defense Command? This isn't Near Defense Command. This is Near Planetary Trust. This is just the Isle of the Deep finally unloading its Mindworm. It's like they know where my units are. They probably do, because games love to have bullshit of the AI being psychic. I have to rewatch that. Where the heck was my...
Turn complete.
Why is it choosing the transport to defend the stat? That doesn't make any sense. And not the unit that was on alert that had higher morale. They're not both non-combat units. Anyways, I need to check where the freaking Mindworms landed. It looks like it's just the... Oh, no, there's more to the southeast. Okay.
Production complete. Production complete.
Okay. Mindworms here. I select the unit and I can see them. They're probably already there in the graphics. Whew. If I attack them, I can suffer collateral damage and I'll have the advantage. I really hate that I lost the transport. Heck, probe team didn't even suffer. I bet the probe team is immune to being selected for defending the stack unless it's the whole unit there. That's probably what happened. Yeah, you learn something new about the game every day, I suppose. It's frustrating because that thing had some dual military civilian use, but I'll replace it with a transport probably once I have secrets to the human brain. 7 turns, 7 years. Each turn is a year here. Okay, so I got this recon rover. What? Mindworms exert zone of control? Really? Alright. Oh, and it clears both of them. I was expecting to only kill one. Killed both. Hmm. Pull this back onto the rocky tile. Because I think that's defense bonuses and allow me to see this tile in case my worms were around. I don't know. If there's my worms on this branch of the fungus, it won't be able to get hit by them. If there's ones in this, it would probably get hit either way, so. Guess it could have gone this way, too. But I do think rocky terrain probably has some defense. Well, it does, but it might stop disengage, being disengaged too. Oh well. Let's see. There were 3 mindworms here that killed my rovers. So there should still be a third somewhere. At least I got the drop on those mindworms. This rover could end up skirmishing them. Any mindworms, that is. Alright, well, the scout rover is. Is there a scout rover or this. Or a disciplined recon rover to risk? The scout rover because it's cheaper. Odds are 15-8. Ah, this achieved a veteran status. It makes it a little more worthwhile to upgrade this to impact rover eventually. Since scout rovers are not going to be that effective in combat against the Spartans, and yeah. Could have gone worse. Could have lost one of those 2 combats. In fact, I think both had odds such that on average, what it was like 50% chance of losing one of the fights or slightly less. 40-50, so lost a transport, but didn't lose a rover. Cool. And got 50 minerals worth of energy back, so worked out in the end. Sort of. The reduced support costs will eventually make things even out. If it had been a probe team, it wouldn't have benefited the support cost situation, so cool. It was here, monitoring agency, that things that the transport was supported from. Sorry. Bit gassy here. I suppose this is our minder. I need a sensor array. Not very badly, but I do need one eventually. I'll just get this rover back to the base. Load it now so I don't forget. It's not like it's going to see combat there. And then the remaining transport still allows it to heal the turn it arrives instead of having to wait a turn, because you have to end a turn when you already have full movement for a unit to start repairing. Former turn is probably more valuable in the probe team turn. Interesting, the probe team didn't suffer collateral damage, though. Just things I don't understand about probe teams, clearly. I also don't understand why that probe team is disciplined. I expected it to be green, so it has an extra morale level, which doesn't make any sense to me. Now all these rovers are here because the Spartan spotted them. If I had lost that fight and not been able to, maybe lost these rovers, I suppose I could have scrambled some rovers to tile the rover farm mine. That's right. Hey, one less support cost. That's right. Can do this now. Grow the base a little quicker. And this is actually superior because the energy was just getting wasted. So this allowed me to essentially improve my total nutrient production by 1 expensive mineral. Which will eventually pay for itself. Or you can think of it as 2 turns producing 3 nutrients instead of 3 turns producing 1 mineral and 2 nutrients. So same amount of nutrients produced. In 2 turns and a third. Third producing 1 nutrient, 2 minerals. And later actually trading off. Nutrients can basically be back off for minerals at a 1-to-1 ratio with a little extra energy later is the bottom line. And a little extra lab scientific research coming out of it. Just the way things work out. And it'll make the next pop available sooner. So I'll recover from that quickly. Dumb mistake though it was. I don't know how the Spartans spotted me though. Did they have a patrol nearby? Was it somewhere around here they spotted one of my units. I just don't know which one or where. Uh, wonder if I had told them to withdraw from my territory, what they would have done, since they don't actually have units in my territory that I know of.
Indigenous life forms.
Oof. More Mindworms. I say oof, but this is probably actually net positive. Like, good luck. 3-2 odds in my favor. Didn't gain any veterancy, but the unit lost movement because it got damaged pretty bad. Really? 3 rovers and they've all failed to move into that tile. Odds were should have succeeded by now. Well, I guess I might end up provoking Sparta again. They spot this unit in their territory here, which they probably will. Whoop. That was 2 movement. Oh well. I think a spot will just warp the unit back to border agency. That's the way that works. Well, the nearest base to wherever they are. These might actually be closer to monitoring. I don't think so, though, since I think it does it by movement. Diagonals count the same as. So yeah, they'll warp back to border agency. This base just has a huge stack of rovers. 7 of them. But I guess it was wrong. You can get Mindworms within the red line, because this was definitely within the red line there, where I got those. So, yeah, learned something kind of useful. Kind of useful. Guess it changes the way I'm going to have to do security here. Ah. Whoopsie daisy. Oh. Well, at all these rovers, I'm like, one of them's going to need to go there. rather risk the World Health Organization rover anyhow. Chief Taran's desk. Save enough. Yeah, so what I want here is for this scout patrol to shoot. If it had moved first and it succeeded, then they would have all came behind it. If it was moving east with them, but I actually want to move west. This can move back to monitoring agency next turn. Apparently this probe team won't suffer collateral, though I think it dies if the Mindworm kills a military unit on a tile with it, so there's that. Which means I'll just do this. That probe team. Don't know if the Spartans can even see it. Does Datalinks have an article on that? Probably not. Probably not. Probe teams can defend against their counterparts. Higher the morale, more can survive a complex mission. This says nothing about them being stealth. I guess not to get cloaking fields, which is now actual like sci-fi stealth field generator type thing. Alright. I didn't learn much about the Spartan territory before they spotted me, and that's probably a trend. They must be able to... They must just instantly know I'm in their territory. Even if I'm hidden in Xenofungus. How else could they have spotted me? Or maybe they had a sensor array that was out of range. I doubt it, but... Now know the location of Fort Superiority, though. So, cool. Hunt for mindworms, not to hunt for mindworms. To hunt for mindworms.
Indigenous life forms.
I'll risk the scout patrols. These are cheap their place. No, maybe I should risk the rover. Silverites has abysmal mineral production. Even Silverites. I keep meaning to rename this base. Let's do this. Silverites doesn't make sense as a base name. Silverites Council or Agency. UN Civil Rights Agency. There we go. Doesn't make any sense to name civil rights as a concept. Name of a base should be like Civil Rights Agency or Civil Rights Division or civil rights charter, even. I don't know. No, not charter. It doesn't make sense for base name. Civil rights memorial, maybe. Uh, Scout Patrol has reached Harden's status. Nice. No longer want it to be a dedicated defender, though. Well, it's disinjured. Has half the odds of surviving, costs half as many minerals, but no, wait, but it has the same support. Actually, if anything, that would mean I'd want it to. Same risk average mineral loss, but more reduction in my support costs. So yeah, they'll still guard the stack. Anything that ends up still on that tile. I don't know if you can get multiple Mindworms on a tile like that.
Indigenous life forms.
It's Mindworm Palooza. Come on down. Sorry, that's like if you guys seen used car sales, like commercials, I'm making fun of one of those. Come on down. This base has a command center. If I have a rover with more movement fight, I might lose a movement point. But anything here can be guarded by the scout patrol. Yeah, I'll just attack with it. Cool. I'm training a lot of my rovers now. Lots of energy, lots of training. This more than makes up that terrible luck before. And yeah, I was correct. The unit can no longer move. It's guarded by that injured scout patrol. They can both make their way back to monitoring agency next turn. This reminds me of a Critical Role. Making my way. Matt Mercer had to like ban them from making that joke. Just like many Dungeons and Dragons campaigns have to ban Monty Python references. I don't know. I've done 2 different D&D campaigns before, like in person stuff, and I've never seen anyone make these kind of jokes. But one of them was a terrible group of people, and the other, I mean, I had no issues with the people I did that group with the second campaign with, partly because I organized the group, so obviously I wouldn't have hung with selected people are terrible to play with, but it was just really low energy, too low energy, and I think that's why it died off. Partly that and people's realized schedules. The host had the not host the GM had some health problems, and he was just never. He was like not fully there a lot of the time. It's the best way I'd put it. Um, excuse me. try and get this rover here, but if I find Mindworms in the way, it actually might be bad. So I'll just have to wait till next turn. Keep other rovers nearby. On call, so to speak. Rover on call. Um, yeah, the monolith also heals stuff up, though. I want to go boop, boop, boop. Through there. Yeah, that would be safer. Designate this discipline rover as defender because I'm trying to protect my elite units. This veteran rover here. If I lose the less experienced rovers, they can always be replaced. Eventually, they'll reduce support costs. It allows me to build another one. It pays for itself. I mean, yeah. Stack a couple of rovers there. Always keep a avenue of retreat open, and that's what I've done. Repair, retreat, whatever. That's outside of Spartan territory. Ooh, and minerals on the coast in jungle. I could create Xenofungus here, have the minerals and coastal spot and nutrients all in range of base. Some jungle tiles. Another base here eventually. Took a look at Quo18's Alpha Centauri Let's Plays. He doesn't seem to understand the importance of cramming lots of bases in tight, especially he was playing the Gaians when I looked at. And the Gaians have higher efficiency, so they can have more bases before they deal with bureaucracy drones, and they have low growth rating, so it's in their interest to do so. Whereas the UN wants fewer, bigger bases. The Gaians want more numerous, smaller ones. Different incentives. Do I want this rover to get kicked back to my own territory? Maybe not. Maybe not. just line them all on the border then. I mean, it doesn't make much sense, does it? Took all the risks getting the rovers out here, and then I'm just gonna have them instantly pull back. Maybe I should save that for damaged ones. It's a cheesy way to get them repaired faster. You're damaged to go into Spartan territory, and they'll pay for your plane flight back. God, that sounds a little too. Like I'm catering to the xenophobic pricks who don't like immigrants or something. Ugh. That was completely unintentional. I just realized how that could sound like something very different. It's like, no, no. Screw those people. We're xenophobic and think all their problems are due to immigrants. No, they aren't. Your problems are due to the big, powerful capitalists who, yes, exploit immigrants sometimes as a tool to make your life worse, but they make your life worse in a zillion other ways too. The billionaire class, they're the real problem, not immigrants. I do seem to remember that this tile was arid. I could be wrong. I could did the farm mine because this base has excessive nutrients. There's no reason to care just yet. I say that, but actually the base would grow for a 1 turn faster if it had extra nutrient. Well, I'll probably do a condenser on this flat and rainy tile. That'll make that rainy with the mine. And it's a tile I'd either eventually want to crawl for nutrients or I could do one in this flat and rainy tile. The energy resources rainy. Since I might do, no, I'd probably do echelon mirrors around that. If anything. Or, no, a thermal borehole. That would be the smart move. Thermal borehole. Don't know if that counts as a slope tile, though. To review the rules on. Does it say it here, or do I have to go elsewhere to look? Land adjacent to other land squares of lower altitude. Yeah, so can't be built if this was over 1,000. Sorry, this was over 1,000 meters, so it's fine. Have to be the bottommost altitude band. The bottom of slopes is fine, just not higher up. Could probably even raise this tile here. Oh, that bring over 2,000. That make that over 1,000. So no, I could not. If thermal borehole, probably condenser here. Because wrong rating, I might just do a mine there. Give me a sec, guys. I'm gonna save. Pause. Oh, I was just brain fart. So build a road. Then this transport can definitely get there. And next turn, it'll load up. And next turn, the former can start right on a condenser, which would be sweet because that will make 2 tiles rainy. This condenser, which will make it a 3 nutrient tile, which is sometimes useful to work. And the mine. This is 9 nutrients to grow. Do this for 1 turn. Trading off an energy for a nutrient. Well, here I get 1 more energy. So it's net native, but I mean it's net neutral, but I can only do that for 1 turn. I need more nutrients. Oh. I know. This fungus will be gone next turn, which will create a 2 nutrient 1 energy tile, which is, I need 2 nutrients, not 3 or something. Instantly. I can put a condenser there, since it'll eventually be a nice place to have a forest condenser in the longest run. In the short run, that'll upgrades nutrient capacity, production capacity. Well, I made to trade that off with the mine to the north. Or actually, this guy's working on the mine can work. Splits time between here and this forest. Not perfect, but definitely not a bad use of stuff, and it means the transport doesn't need to mess around. Oh, or this transport can just help tear up the fungus here. Get another former, get that done in 3 turns. That's pretty good. Work this until this is cleared. Something like that. Different strategies. Worth thinking about all. Alright. With that scout patrol and the transport, can use it to try and get a patrol. Well, I can definitely get it up here. Stack if I want, or try and get one here. Mindworm would probably go for the rover or this, though. Give me 1 more sec. My apologies, guys. That took me longer, I think, than I should have. I guess my mind's a little bit already on the Rebelling Fate it'll do. And very much in the Age of Wonders one I'm hoping to do with Joe later today, the multiplayer campaign. I've been doing that. Posting. There's a buffer on that, so you guys wouldn't know, but I didn't do one last week. I'm hoping I can find the energy today, but I woke up earlier and I would have liked. I can be exhausted and a little behind my sleep with long COVID, but I'll go to sleep. I'll still wake up like 6 hours, 5 something later. It sucks. I don't sleep well anymore. Yeah, this disease is brutal. Yeah, for those new, just channel. I'm disabled with long COVID. It leaves me too sick to work. There's a million consequences for my health of this disease. And the government sits there and doesn't invest adequately in research on a cure. Resisted pressure. Now Trump's cutting. Resisted pressure increased funding before under like Biden, and now Trump is cutting funding in half for medical research in the country, or trying to, with the Republican Congress, and this like Doge fascist takeover and all the shit that's going on right now. It's May. It'll be, I guess, August when this goes up, so maybe things have changed drastically. Who knows? And I'm screwed out of Social Security disability insurance because they call it insurance, but it's the U.S. social safety net for those who are disabled, which the freaking evil shithead administrators at the Social Security office like, it's not a social safety net, it's insurance. Well, yeah, it's like the fucking health insurance that screws people out of care, that deserve it, that been paying in premiums all those years. I get screwed because there's an all or nothing threshold. You need a certain number of work credits to qualify, and they make certain jobs exempt from contributing to work credits, like ones for university while you're a grad student, or for religious institutions, or for certain nonprofits. These exemptions were all added by Newt Gingrich, that Republican piece of shit, in the mid 90s with Bill Clinton's assent. And because Bill Clinton sold out ordinary Americans. Well, I mean, he didn't really sell them out. He was always a piece of shit like this. Third way Democrat, i.e., neoliberal. Let's cut welfare, end welfare as we know it. Bill Clinton always said that. I'm ending welfare as you know it. That's what he said. Evil shit. And he also, at the same time he's doing this, decreased opportunities for ordinary people. So it's not we're cutting welfare and we're creating opportunities. That fucking evil piece of shit with Newt Gingrich froze all residency training funding in the United States to inflation. So it's at least not decreasing with inflation, but froze in the sense of no real increase. Even as the populations continue to grow in age and medical professions become more specialized, so that the number of medical residency seats has not increased since then, except with a brief increase that was done in 2003 under Bush, targeting rural areas, which was a nod to some of his rural voting base. The Republicans were willing to do that to create a few more residencies that were specialized on going on providing healthcare in rural Montana, Missouri, whatever. But other than that, it's been stagnant. So I was trying to become a physician. I suffered from that shit, make it hard to get where I was going. I had to save a lot of money, knowing I was going to have to apply to a lot of medical schools, get into anywhere. So I was very careful with finances and ended up getting stuck in a rural area because I was so careful with money and not borrowing too much in student loans, because you end up having to pay for medical school with tons of student loans usually. Because in the U.S., it's not funded usually by government scholarships like a lot of countries. And family tell me, oh, you don't want to get into debt, and I got screwed anyways. And family members said, oh, well, I'll help you move. Oh, you can come stay with me. And they all were net on their promises. Anyways, I moved this assistant from Forest because it's actually strictly better yields. Didn't immediately realize that. As for here, what I should do, well, food program, planetary trust. This farmer is further along. Let's see. 7, I think it's like 19 to rush 7. 6 is usually 13 energy to rush 4. Yeah, I'm gonna anyways. Support from here. That one can't move. The other one, it's still got some movement left. Let's load the transport. Go here. And go here. The reason, or you know what? Here, because the Mindworms are going to almost certainly attack from this to this tile. I don't need to suffer collateral damage. Could have left that one in place and moved that there. Wouldn't have mattered, I suppose. Would just left the unit stationary and had to skip turn. And go here because next turn I'll have the former move third movement, load the transport. Transfer move here with this full movement. Then the former will unload and start chopping away at this fungus, Xenofungus. So that's another farm mine site up in that hill. And then a condenser here will happen not too much later. I kind of like the stacks of having the condensers in a line. These ones are on one axis and these are perpendicular to it, which realistically we get winds coming from this way or this way, condense them. So it's actually kind of realistic too, as well as I like the stacks. Sources of clean water for the base and irrigation for the farms, basically. Yeah, so I got screwed at disability because it was 2 work credits shy, or maybe 1. There's a job I started in a given year where they didn't give me any work credits, but I actually was working that year, but didn't get my first paycheck the next year. So they might have owed me 1 more work credit than they gave me, but they said 2, and it's all or nothing. But I would have had the work credits if not for these stupid rules of certain jobs not counting, because I worked jobs that didn't count towards dispo work credits, and I was disabled young. The system is also fucked because the number of credits you need increases up until you reach 30, basically, which is when I was disabled, like 30, 31. Let's see, it's 2021 that I was disabled. Yeah, I was 31. Yeah, so the number of work credits increases to like 30, 31, then it stagnates until you're like 42, doesn't increase further. So the hardest point in your entire life to make the requirement is right at that age. That was just happened to be the age I was disabled because I had the worst luck. Like if something could screw me over or go wrong, it will. Do that because there was a chance of Mindworms into that tile. And I could have had this rover attack him if there were any. Have a rover in the base. Doesn't hurt, I suppose. The Uni rover in reserve. So I can pull up the scout patrol in a desperate situation. Say the Mindworms go here. They can attack at 2/3 strength. Or just make sure this is the designated defender rather than the hardened Uni rover. Would not want to risk that. No, thank you. Or if the transport somehow rolled to defend, that'd be really dumb. Got these rovers sitting around. Guess this one needs to return the planetary trust. It can go up this way. Third. Get to the monolith if this rover is forced to disengage, which it very likely will be. Put that rover here. I doubt the Mindworms will attack it, but if they do, it can disengage. If they don't, it can likely help attack. One's attack, one's scout patrols. They would have to specifically move here just to be out of range of the rover. Be in range of this one then. To avoid it. But yeah, this is the very quintessence of modern neoliberalism is poke welfare systems full of holes. Don't actually get rid of them. Just make it so no one actually qualifies for them, and then just say, oh, it's just because you didn't do the right thing, or it's just the bureaucracy, or, you know, there's a million bullshit excuses, or it's not meant to screw people. No, the system is intentionally meant to screw people, and these two-faced politicians create these rules to screw people up, pretending that's not what they're up to. It's just a sneaky way of being evil shits. And they get away with it every time because they have immense billionaire funding. You're never going to end this kind of pattern of evil and corruption unless you get rid of capitalism, because this is inherent to it. Neoliberalism continue because it's in the interest of the billionaires. And the billionaires have immense economic power, and they're not giving that up. Let's get this rover down to help recover this alien artifact. Could try and go north through fungus, but that's an incredibly dangerous route. Just go south around. Kind of would like to see what's up here, though. So, Scout Patrol can do that. Here, because I actually want to provoke a Mindworm attack on this, if possible, instead of the artifact or something. Gotta defend the artifact, though. Could have actually gone boom boom, couldn't I have? Oh well. It's a workable arrangement of things. There is Mindworm here. There won't be. Probably won't be one here either. Could be one down here, I suppose. Making its way. Making my way. Guess I don't want to suffer collateral damage here. So, boom. That way, worms on the river have to attack the scout patrol rather than the 2 rovers, which can move in and kill whatever kills the patrol. And I keep hunting for worms because, well, it's not worth paying the support in the units if I'm not hunting for worms. Actively hunting. This rover is green. Needs to get to a monolith. Boom, I guess. Head this way. Yeah, I'm sure I'm talking about capitalism just either preaching the choir or you get closed-minded people who don't want to hear anything about it. They want to live in a fantasy world where capitalism is working great and it hasn't led to countless right-wing military dictatorships all throughout the Cold War and then after the Cold War and then the U.S. invading Iraq for no freaking reason except their oil with a bunch of bullshit excuses. Oh, Saddam was bad to his people. There's a lot of people who are bad to people. A lot of people are bad to the people that the U.S. put in power. Like the, dictators in Paraguay and Uruguay, the U.S. has put in power. Clearly, the U.S. doesn't give a shit about human rights abuses like Saddam Hussein committed, or we wouldn't support far-right military dictators all throughout Latin America. No, we invaded Iraq for their oil. And Afghanistan, it was over mineral resources, even though we were attacked by Al Qaeda. That was not the real reason we invaded, or we would just send a small special forces team to hunt down Osama, which is actually how we did kill him. May I remind people? And we found him in Pakistan, not Afghanistan, because the border is very porous there and it was easy for him to just leave. It's not like invading Afghanistan helped us catch him in any way. I mean, yeah, we got some intelligence, but we could have easily gathered intelligence in Afghanistan, hunt him down, and if he didn't leave the country, gone him there. Invading the country just made it so that he decided to leave the country that we invaded. It was pretty much pointless. Enormous number of deaths, both of our own allies and in the region, and various contractors, mercenaries, and then U.S. soldiers got injured. More often they get good health care so they don't die, but a lot of bad injuries. Because because they go to like these field hospitals, think MASH kind of thing, but they come back with brain injuries and missing limbs and such. So terrible amount of human life ruined or damaged or made, more difficult. A lot of people in the country, civilians in Afghanistan, murdered people who had nothing to do with Al Qaeda at all, because the majority of the country was not. I mean, Taliban, sure, but even the Taliban, it was a bunch of warlords. Uh, all for control of rare earth minerals, for use in making computers and batteries and stuff. Um, so that we could position ourselves better to fight China, because that's what this is really about. China has a lot of rare earth minerals, and the U.S. wanted control of the Afghan ones so that it would be better positioned to invade China, which the U.S. is still trying to prepare for that. By now, the whole Ukraine thing is the hopes of collapsing Russia into a bunch of small micro countries and then set up NATO bases or whatever, U.S. military bases, maybe not actually NATO, but U.S. military bases on China's northern border, like Vladivostok and stuff. That's the U.S. hope, is to balkanize Russia. And yeah, this is not like just an ad hoc thing either. There was literally the project for a new American century. They literally plans to invade Iraq, invade Afghanistan. Both those things happen. Invade Iran hasn't happened yet, but there's still drum rolls for war there. Invade North Korea and try and align Russia one way or another, and then having surrounded China to invade China. This is literally plans for world domination, like civilization style, but worse, because it'll be neocolonialism. It won't be like annexing any territory, and then people have the rights of living within U.S. controlled territory. No, it'd be saying puppet right-wing regimes to exploit the labor of China and the industry and the natural resources. All right. But that's capitalism for you. It's inevitably the kind of things it does. It's not out of character at all. The worst people, the people like, oh, it's not capitalism, it's corporatism. No, that's literally capitalism. That's capitalism naturally leads to a few large corporations buying up everything and controlling the government. So that is very much, that's exactly what capitalism looks like. People pretend it's not, are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Trying to move into this fungus because it's adjacent to the Scout Patrol, so Scout Patrol could help, or just help it clear the tile. Pretty sure you can't draw Mindworms directly adjacent to a base, but you can 2 tiles from one, apparently. If I get Mindworms there, though, I don't have reinforcements to help if I lose. Gotta be more careful about these kind of things. Let's go here. It's a little bit of stacking, but it's how unlikely to be a Mindworm attacking this tile. Unless I spawn one through movement. If I do, it might attack the rover that's already in the fungus, because it's more vulnerable. Altering of rainfall patterns. This is not near planetary terrestrial. This is near UNHQ. Right then. Oh, whatever. Condenser's done. 3 turns to fill the nutrient cube precisely, and then the base grows. Do wonder if I calculate all this out and I'd want to actually swap into planned or something. Nah, not enough bases. They're close to growth. Movie council grows. That's cool. I'll work these minerals probably. Order agency is just doing its thing at size 3. Do need like a farm condenser tile somewhere around it. Trying to heal that former sensor array there. That's rolling moist. Yeah, I can just do a farm condenser. Make this moist tile rainy. Make this rocky tile rainy, which eventually I might flatten it to be rolling so we can farm it. A very long run, not for a while, because you can either just do a mine for 4 minerals, or you can just do a borehole for 6. So borehole's better than flattening. I mean, than doing a mine plus road on a rocky tile usually. Thermal borehole. I don't know why I went with the tech for the same tech that lets you build boreholes, lifts the mineral caps. The only reason you would ever do the road mine is because you can get it built before the tech. But yeah, as much as a borehole is nice, I'd probably better off with boreholes on flat terrain and then using rolling terrain for farming. And then even longer run, having supply crawlers work the farms and working specialists instead of farmers, because 1 mineral is not worth a pop that could be an engineer, produce effectively 5 energy that's not subject to inefficiency, which then get multiplied by energy banks and fusion labs and stuff like that. Fusion power. Let's see. 22. If I do much longer, I'm going to have to give fusion lab and systems engineer. It's when start to get real value of specialist economy. I really don't want to cut this video in 2, especially with the rants here and there, which some people skip over, so there's less real content. So I'm going to cut it here. I hope you folks enjoyed. I'm just not playing great today, and I'll probably see stuff on a different day better, or after a rest if I came back today. So I wish you all the best. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. May you always find a guiding star to lead you home. Till next time, it's Northstar. I do.